What's going on, golf addicts? Welcome to Tour Junkies After Dark for the U.S. Open 2021. We are the Tour Junkies. I'm DB. I got Pat Perry. We wore the same shirt. We didn't know it, but it's the
old school, back in the day, pre-Ryder Cup shirts.
The Ryder Cup 2016 Tour Junkie shirt. We've been doing this about 6 years, man, in case you didn't know. But we're here to cover the U.S. Open tonight, talking DraftKings Sportsbook picks for the evening. Now, we just got done recording our own podcast over on the YouTube channel for Tour Junkies. We had 20-plus year PGA Tour caddy Paul Tesori on our show. He caddies for Webb Simpson. Man, Paul was fantastic. He talked a lot about Torrey Pines. He talked about how this golf course is different from Winged Foot last year. He talked about how the USGA is doing things different this year than they did last year for the U.S. Open at Winged Foot. Very interesting stuff from Paul Tesori on the setup, on the golf course, on the rough, on, you know, what the USGA may have done after Bryson kind of embarrassed them at Winged Foot last year. It's good stuff. If you haven't already watched it, if you haven't already listened to it, you can check it out on the Tour Junkies YouTube channel. You can check it out wherever you listen to podcasts. It's very good. Paul Tesori is amazing. While you're here, though, on the DFS show for DraftKings, or on the DFS channel for DraftKings, give it a thumbs up. Give it a thumbs up and tell them, leave us a comment. You know, tell us, are you Team Brooks? Are you Team Bryson? That's a thing. DK Sportsbook has a nice head-to-head matchup with Bryson versus Brooks. Right now, we're recording this actually on Saturday night, very early. Right now, they have a Bryson-Brooks head-to-head, and Bryson is a minus 120 favorite over Brooks at minus 107. We talked about it on one of our shows. We both like Brooks in that matchup. Comment below. Tell us what you think. But for now, Pat, let's get into the golf course, Torrey Pines, without giving too much away, because we could talk for 20 minutes on Torrey Pines and on what Paul Tesori said and break that down. Without giving too much away, tell the people what they need to know about Torrey Pines.
Well, Torrey Pines is a great course. It is going to play very difficult this week. It is the South course, by the way. There are a couple courses here, the North course and the South course. It is a par 71. It is playing almost 7,650 yards. We've got 156 players in the field this week, and top 60 and ties will make the cut. You got Bermuda fairways overseeded with rye. You've got Kikuyu in the rough this week. Kikuyu grass with a little bit of rye mixed in, and it is going to be extremely thick. Paul Tesori talked about Kikuyu and kind of how what the difference is between that versus some of the other roughs that they typically see on tour. Small greens this week. Small greens, which, that is going to put an emphasis on greens and regulation, strokes gained approach. And then if you miss these green, you got to scramble well. And you got to scramble well out of some very thick rough, which is going to make this thing very difficult. And then Poana greens, which is typically what we see on the West Coast. They get bouncy. They do all kinds of crazy things. So Poana is it's just a tricky surface to putt on. So you do want to look at those guys that maybe have traditionally putted well on Poana greens. Could look at a long time frame there, not like your recent, last 10 rounds or something. Look at like 100 rounds or something. Guys that just traditionally putt well there. But outside of that, for me, I'm looking at the stats of strokes gained approach, driving accuracy. They tighten up the fairways in U.S. Opens, okay? You do got to try to keep it in the fairway, but you still got to be, decently long off a tee on this course. Ball striking for me is one. And then bogey avoidance. I like to look at bogey avoidance in U.S. Opens, okay? You got to avoid some of those bigger numbers. You got to, plod your way around the golf courses, not making a whole lot of mistakes. So bogey avoidance kind of gives me, a little bit of a look into how people are when it comes to playing difficult golf courses and not putting up the big numbers. But outside of that, should be a good week. Fantastic field, and excited to get started.
Yeah, man. Bogey avoidance for sure. I mean, in 2008, when Torrey Pines held the U.S. Open here, when Tiger and Rocco Mediate dueled it out on a Monday playoff, they made it to the playoff shooting 1 under. I think the USGA is going to, want to keep this between a, even par and 5 under kind of golf tournament. So I'm not weighing the Farmers Insurance Open at all. I know you looked at it a little bit kind of as a tiebreaker in terms of course history, in terms of how people play the Farmers Insurance Open, but there are countless number of players quoted and on record saying the U.S. Open at Torrey Pines in June is going to play completely different from the Farmers Insurance at Torrey Pines in late January, early February. So I'm not really weighing that into play, but I do think obviously approach play around the greens, putting POA, avoiding the big numbers is definitely key, as it is in most majors. So there you go. Let's get into the betting odds here on DraftKings Sportsbook now. As of Saturday night, John Rahm, just a couple of hours removed from letting the world know on Twitter that he just received 2 negative COVID tests, and he has been cleared to show up to the golf tournament earlier than expected. After
several days earlier than expected.
Yeah, after just a week ago, being forced to withdraw after the third round, leading by 6 shots of the Memorial. Pretty crazy turn of events, but he is your favorite at 8-1, followed by Bryson and Rory and JT at 12-1. Dustin Johnson, Brooks Koepka, Xander Schauffele, Jordan Spieth at 14-1. Morikawa, Victor Hovland, Cantlay, Hideki, and Patrick Reed and Webb Simpson round out the 25-1 and shorter names. Anyone in there that interests you?
Yes, there are some shorter names that interest me.
Okay.
One being Brooks Koepka at 14-1. I love Brooks Koepka here. I think this is a great spot for him. I think the odds are maybe just a little longer than they might have been if he had played a little bit better at the tournament this week, but I don't care. I like him this week a lot. And I think the U.S. Open is one of those tournaments where I can stomach some shorter odds guys and betting there. I mean, you look at the last few years, I mean, the winners we're getting, are all shorter odds guys outside of maybe Woodland a few years ago. What was he? Maybe 50-1, 60-1.
Yeah.
But outside of that, I mean, you typically are going to get some shorter odds guys, I think, in the U.S. Open, at least over the last 5 years. So I like Brooks here. And then I like Xander Schauffele. He's also at 14-1. I've seen him a little longer at times, but I think this is a good spot for Xander Schauffele also. So I like both those guys in the 14-1 range here.
Okay. I'm just going to give you one name, and it's going to be Patrick Cantlay at 25-1. I've been a Patrick Cantlay believer. I was on him after he missed 4 straight missed cuts leading up to the PGA Championship, where he finished top 30. Could have been much better, kind of stumbled late on Sunday. But Cantlay is a world-class player. Just won the Memorial that John Rahm had to withdraw from after leading by 6 shots. But he's won the Memorial before. He's competed very well on tough golf courses. He's a ball striker. He's a California kid. I mean, Patrick Cantlay, decent U.S. Open record. Ball striking over the last 2 months has been impeccable. Top 10 in the field. Checks the box and putting on POA, around the green, and approach play. He's all around just a great player. He's confident as ever. I think he's ready to win his first major. 7 of the last 10 U.S. Open winners, Pat, it was their very first major winning. Now, Brooks Koepka obviously, kind of busted that up, but that's what it is. And I think Patrick Cantlay is ready to close the door on his first major.
Okay.
As we proceed down the betting board, I am going to believe in young Will Zalatoris.
Ooh, okay.
We last saw Will. Yeah, we last saw Will a few weeks ago. Now, finished, T8 at the PGA Championship, which I think the PGA at Kiowa is, played very similar to what I think we're going to see here at Torrey Pines. Obviously, East Coast, West Coast, you got different green surfaces, a lot more water in play maybe at Kiowa than you have at Torrey. But firm, fast, difficult, tough greens. You miss them, you got to get up and down. I think very similar. Zalatoris finishes T8th. His last U.S. Open finished T6th. Ball striking, he checks the box. Putting on POA, checks the box. Around the green, approach play, checks the box. California kid. I mean, the kid's pretty amazing. He's very, very good. He's 33-1. I think his first win could be a U.S. Open. So I'm gonna go with Will Zalatoris. And then finally, my last pick, kind of in this mid range, is the Irishman Shane Lowry. I am a huge fan of Shane Lowry. He's been doing some great stuff, man. I mean, T4 at the PGA. He's played well at the U.S. Open, gaining nearly 30 strokes total in 7 appearances. The ball striking's been good. He's one of the best players in the field in around the green, scrambling, kind of short game play. Checks the box in approach play. That's trending well. He's confident. He's your defending Open champion, so you know he can play well and compete in tough conditions. I think Shane Lowry at 60-1 is impeccable value. And as of Saturday night, I don't think that number is going to get any longer. I think it's going to get shorter. So I like that.
Yeah, I agree there. I like some Shane Lowry. I like Louis Oosthuizen at 50-1. He's a guy that we know, kind of like Brooks. He's like, except he just doesn't win the majors, except for one. But still, he always comes to play in majors, seems to always show up and have a chance. Had a chance just a few weeks ago at the PGA Championship where he finished second. Has had a very solid year. You're getting him at 50-1. He's a guy who's always just, extremely consistent off the tee, has plenty of distance, great on approach play, a good scrambler, a good putter, all kinds of things. Like if you talk about a U.S. Open, a lot of times the USGA and everybody talks about, like, they just want somebody who has all the tools to their game to win this tournament. Not like what happened with Brooks, by the way, at Wingfoot, where he just had really, well, actually, he didn't just have one tool in the bag, because he did a lot of things well outside of just driving the ball well, at the U.S. Open last year. I mean, he scrambled well, putted well, was good on approach. But either way, I think Louis Oosthuizen is a good bet here at 50-1, like his form and everything else there. Also, another guy in here in kind of this mid-tier range that I like this week is Paul Casey at 50-1. He's another guy right in that range at 50-1. Been in good recent form. Another, like, all-around just great player, just like we see with Louis Oosthuizen. I think Paul Casey at 50-1 is a good number for him. And I just can't avoid Jason Kokrak at 60-1.
Oh, yes.
The guy is playing fantastic this year. I'll just have like this sick feeling in my stomach if I don't bet Jason Kokrak this week. I mean, look at this year. He's the only player outside of Bryson DeChambeau to win twice this year on tour. He went all these years without having a win, and then he wins twice this year. I think this is another good setup for him, though, as well. So at 60-1 in this mid-range, Jason Kokrak.
Yeah, love Kokrak. I'm right there with you there. Shortly, like right there after him, I got 2 more picks total, and then I'm done. Max Homa at 80-1. I'm a believer. T6 at the Memorial. Tough tournament at Jack's Place in Columbus, Ohio, coming off the miscut at the PGA. Max Homa, a winner in California at the Genesis, in a tough field, at a tough course at Riviera. Checks the box in approach play, off the tee play, doesn't make a lot of big numbers. Approach play has been solid long-term and short-term. Around the green play, typically not a strength of Max. Did pretty good, though, at the Memorial. And putting on POA, it's his best surface. He kills it. California kid, Max Homa, 80-1. Love it. As we get into the triple digits, Pat, I'm going to finish up the show with one triple-digit winner. And it's a guy that honestly, man, I mean, I know I've been talking about him a lot, but it's just, I can't stop. Okay. I can't stop betting Matt Wallace, the European guy, the European sensation of Matt. I'm going to call him a sensation. Okay. That's what I'm going to do. Matt Wallace. Now, you missed the cut at the Memorial, 56th at the Charles Schwab, 55th at the PGA. You're like, oh, that's not very good. Okay. But he has done well in tough fields, strong fields, tough courses. 6th at the Wells Fargo, has a great Masters record, 18th at the API at Bay Hill. Matt Wallace can compete in this field for sure. Has a T12 at the U.S. Open in 2019. The Open Championship, he's He's had a couple of runs at that. The PGA, he's got a T3 in 2019. He checks a box in approach play, top 20. Around the green play, 25th. Good drives, 26th. Bogey avoidance, 23rd. I mean, and the around the green game is trending. POA is trending nicely. Matt Wallace at 150 to 1 on DK Sportsbook is a bomb that I will take a look at. Also, probably a good top 20 bet whenever DK releases those numbers as well.
All right. I don't mind him. I'm going to give you two here, right at 200 to 1. One is Robert McIntyre. I like him. You know, he's a guy that's getting a lot of experience in some big tour events this year. You know, long hitter, lefty, you know, finished T49 of the PGA Championship. You know, I think he's got a big future ahead of him, and I think that who knows what could happen this week for him. So 200 to 1, and then Russell Henley. I ain't even talked about Russell Henley at all, like the whole time. But he just kind of like he's my gut feel, like 200 to 1. I feel like he, you know, we've seen him play well in U.S. Opens in the past. Great ball striker. You know, great on approach. Typically has been a good putter, although he hasn't been putting that well this year. But I think Russell Henley could jump up and surprise some people this week.
Wow, Russell Henley, huh?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
interesting take.
That's right.
Yeah. So me and Pat had a bet on the DFS show that we previewed, the DraftKings DFS show. It's the best friends bet, and one of us is going to be waxing, or actually, our wives are going to be live on camera waxing a part of our body. Whoever.
And this is going to be for the Open Championship
show? Open Championship show. So yeah, so stay tuned for that, and check out the DFS show that we did on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts to see what that bet's going to be. Go ahead and give it a thumbs up here on the DraftKings channel if you enjoy the video. We appreciate it. If you stuck around this long, you had to have enjoyed it. So go ahead and do that. And may your screens be green for the 2021 U.S. Open at Torrey Pines. Let's get it. See ya.
Oh.